Matt, really good to see you. We want to let everybody know that the clock is ticking on those 2022 conversions. So if you're considering converting an IRA to a Roth in 2022, we're going to break down everything you need to know. And I want to start, Matt, with a common misconception about those deadlines. A lot of people think the conversions can be done up until the tax filing deadline, but that's not right.
You are correct. That is not correct, or that is not right. The conversion does have to be done by the end of the year. So
Mhm.
all conversions have to be done by December 31st for the year that you want to do the conversion. It is not the tax filing deadline.
All right, so that's everybody's first thing they need to keep in mind. Now, I want to break down how this works. If I convert my IRA to a Roth, I will be facing potentially a pretty big tax bill come April of the next year.
That could potentially be true depending on how much you convert. So
Mhm.
two things we want to keep in mind there is one, we want to keep either within your current tax bracket by just converting enough to keep you from bumping up into the next tax bracket, or consider, if you're going from 22 to 24, 2% difference, staying within that tax bracket, that is fine. So the big point there being is we don't want to do a full conversion. We don't want to convert all your money in one year because that would bump you way up into a different tax bracket. It's better just to ladder it in over a few year time frame.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about ladders in a second. Right now, though, I want to talk about historical tax rates because one of the first questions I need to ask myself if I'm considering a Roth conversion is whether or not I think taxes are going to go up in the future. And just for context, here's a look at that historical tax rate.
Well, there we go. This is a beautiful chart if you work for the IRS. So if you look back, this chart goes from 2013 to 2020. This is a marginal U.S. tax bracket or tax rate. And if you look from 1940-ish to even 1960, 94% here, and keep in mind, this is only the federal tax. So if you live in a state where you also have state income tax, I mean, at one point in California, it was over 100% or right at 100%.
Wow, that is something to consider. Okay, so other considerations here, Matt. You're talking before about tax brackets and future tax brackets, something to keep in mind.
Yes. So regarding future tax brackets, so the current tax rates that we have sunset, I believe, around 2026. And keep in mind, a tax increase is just one vote away from our, Congress. So potentially taxes can go up in the future.
Mhm.
So just keep that in mind. And
Mhm.
then also when it comes to paying those taxes on the conversion, what you don't want to do is pay it out of the conversion itself. You want to pay it out of your cash flow, either pay it out of savings or pay it out of cash flow, but do not use the money that you converted to pay for the tax.
Okay. And also, just we want to underscore this point. A lot of people assume they're going to be in a lower tax bracket when they retire, but that's just not always the case.
No, it's not. I mean, again, they can change the taxes at any given time. You got to look at your deductions. A lot of times you get your house paid off, whatever else. The standard deduction is high now. They just increased it, but that can change. Uh,
Mhm.
and again, they do have to pay for all the spending that they've been doing the last few years, and really, honestly, for decades. And until that gets in line, I personally see taxes going up.
Okay. So you mentioned this before, a Roth ladder. I've heard of it. What is it and when should I consider it?
I would consider it basically after age 59 and a half, because after 59 and a half, you can take money out of your IRA without penalty. And then instead of doing, again, the large sum, conversion, we just do a little bit every year up until retirement. And if there's years where we know your income is going to be lower, then we would do more in that year. But instead of doing it all at once, we want to ladder it over a few years so we can get that Roth bucket. Because the beauty of the Roth bucket is twofold. One, um, the growth is going to be tax free for the rest of your life. And the idea is this: do you want to pay tax on the seed, which is the Roth IRA, or do you want to pay tax on the harvest, which is the traditional IRA? I'd rather
Mhm.
pay tax on the seed and do that now.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is when you have a Roth IRA, RMD requirements, there are no RMD requirements. Because a lot of times those RMDs, when you're older and you got your Social Security and your pensions, whatever else coming out, those RMDs can bump you into a higher tax bracket as well. But that's not the case with the Roth IRA.
That's right, because those RMDs are income. Great point, Matt. That was really helpful. So again, we just want everybody to know the clock is ticking. So if they have any questions, Matt, about doing a conversion this year or next year, what's the best
Yeah,
way to reach you?
it is a little late for this year,
Yeah.
but give us a call. The best way to reach us is by phone, 425-256-3105, or email mburklund@choosevault.com.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sarah. Have a great day.